and welcome to this very special place. I'm Nai from the Propertyy. I'm excited to have you with us, and today we've got someone very exciting. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Dave Price. I own Edgewater Oaks, and we've developed this from a field of nothingness into hopefully what people see as these pretty special units, and that's why we're here today.
Keen for you guys to join us. Stay tuned. Stay on for the video. There's a lot coming. And it's just going to be very exciting. So come on, join us. Okay, so David, tell me, how did you get started into property? I already know on your Insta famous line that says you started with 6K savings, but I'd actually like to know before that.
I always wanted to get into property because I think I'm pretty unemployable now, because I have that many ideas that I want to jump onto that idea, jump onto that. And then when I was employed, I used to work for AO.com and a couple of other companies, and the way that those businesses are structured, and rightly so, you're very pigeonholed into your set job role. So when you've got ideas that you think can add value to a business, sometimes you can't act on that, and sometimes you can't push those ideas forward. So that was frustrating for me. Part of the reason why I wanted to get into property is because it's so multifaceted. So what I mean by that is, like in the mornings you could be dealing with architects, and then an hour later you could be on site doing contractor work, dealing with contractors on site, from plumbers, electrics, builders, everything. Then in the afternoon you might be going to quite another site with solicitors. So it's just constantly moving from not being bored all day. When
you're growing up as kids, people don't think about this. You're watching stuff like Bob the Builder, and especially like for young boys and stuff, you know, you're thinking creative, and like you're even playing with Legos and building stuff up. And it's actually no different, right? It's
a big Lego set. Now that you're doing new build, I've started previously, this is my first new build project, by the way, and everything up to that point was always renovation. So once you get to new build, it's a lot easier, because once you're out the ground, it is kind of like a Lego set. It's more process driven, it's more building by design and construction, whereas with renovations, you've got a lot of unforeseen problems that you might have to get around. But coming back to the child's play part, you're right, because when you're talking about building Duplo or Lego or anything like that as a kid, this is the same thing, but you can make a very good living off it, become financially free off it. If you're doing your day job of every day and you don't see it as work, then it's not work.
A lot of people are confused about education, career paths. They're looking at you, they're saying, this guy is where I want to be. What would you have? I'm not saying like, give us, you know, the A to B kind of like, but like what
it's more of the mindset. So if you go to A to B to C, there's just so many intricacies that you can't say, this is the only path, you've got to do that and that, because there are a million ways to get, like if someone wants to use my journey as an example, there would have been 100 ways to get to where I am. So you're right, instead of giving a detailed breakdown, it's more mindset. So nobody wanted me to get into property because I had what was perceived as a stable job, and it was a good career. So everyone was like, you're stupid to get out of that, because if it was so easy in property, everyone would be doing it. And I was like, it does seem easy. Why isn't everyone doing it? Because for the effort you put in, if you're willing to absolutely grind your ass off, then the rewards are unbelievable.
So why specifically a gated residence, or like, you know, this type of development specifically?
Okay, so what we wanted to do is, we've started on the road here. Because our product is quite a bespoke product that we do. You can see the canal bridge that comes on from around here, waterside feature to the right there. That was our big USP and selling point. And because we've observed the masses about what other developers are doing in the area, more mass products like £200,000 houses. This site here could have probably fit on 22 of those houses.
Wow.
But we've only gone for 6. So our USP and our model to compete with the big boys, because we're not big enough yet, is to do much more.
It doesn't look that way, by the way.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So yeah, we've observed the masses, we've done the opposite, and we've actually created a more bespoke product, less units on here, so people aren't crammed on. And as part of that luxury feel, what we wanted to do is, because we've only got 6 units, is you only get one chance to make a first impression. So the best thing about that first impression is a gated community, because if you imagine, what we're trying to do is create an emotional response from people, and the way to do that is by having wow factors and stuff that people don't expect. So one of those things might be, as soon as you come on the entrance coming home from work, you might be stressed out, but as soon as you've come to your home that you absolutely love, to see that gated entrance, to come into it, it's just a relaxing feeling of something special. You've worked hard for it. The more practical side of that is these can be looked at as like a bit of a lock up and leave. So some of our buyers might have houses in Spain 6 months of the year. So it's for security, so there's form as well as function. So the form is the beautiful feeling that it creates an emotional response from people, but the actual function of it is more security for the people living here. So yeah, what we do when we're looking at properties and land, because we were considering 3 other projects as well as this. So it's a case of being able to prioritise the best ones for us, because we've got no pressure from any external sources that have to go and spend money, have to go and look at sites to recycle cash. We can just take our time, pick the absolute right ones with the best returns, the safest ones, the ones that are going to sell the best. This one ticked all the boxes. And because we're going to be investing millions into whatever project we take on, it's got to be right, the location's got to be right, it's got to be safe, it can't flood anywhere. It's a question that everyone always asks, because they think next to water, does it flood? But it's a man-made structure, it's a canal, it has overflow points, it can't flood. And also what we do for that is run it by solicitors, run it by the local authority to make sure that it's not in any flood zones. And for us, waterside was a big seller, so we wanted as many properties as possible to benefit from the waterside, but also because the sun literally rises over there, sets over there, so all day long you've got south facing sun. So that's how we've orientated the houses, and that's how we pick our sites.
The big question I'm sure is on everyone's mind, how was this project funded?
Robbing banks, selling drugs. How it's funded, if we take a few steps back, so I had 6,000, bought a little terrace that was 60,000, and then just coincidentally doubled the size in projects each time, to the point where I took on an external investor, got onto projects like this, where we then start getting involved with the banks. So typically now we use Lloyds. To get funding as a developer from a tier 1 lender is like an incredible accolade, because normally they will only touch you if you've got a very long successful track record. We got to a point where that was able to be proven, and to then get Lloyds on board was a big win for us, because then it showed there's a big high street lender that's willing to put the name against us, that trust in our brand, trust in our product, trust in the quality. How this is funded is I own 100% of the company. I've got a few investors on board that we've all put money into the pot to cover our 40%, and then Lloyds cover 60% of the whole development cost. I think there's things like Crowdcube and Propertyy now that people are going to. I'm going to look into that in the future, but that's how we've done it so far.
Obviously on the property we post a lot of real estate, a lot of houses of this quality, and people, if I saw this on a picture, I didn't off the bat think the quote is probably 3-5 million, and you're talking 850. So at this level of detail, quality, how did you manage that sort of thing?
So what we try and do as much as possible is reverse engineer stuff. So for example, kitchens, I'll give you an example. These are actually phenomenal kitchens that we get from Porcelanosa. So the build quality is incredible. They take us to the factory visits in Spain. We understand the build quality and we see it being made through, it's a massive factory. It's bigger than a town.
Oh wow.
It's unbelievable. So we go to that level of extent of seeing how it's put together. And then what we try and do is see if we can source our worktops ourselves and go directly to the supplier, for the carcasses and doors from Porcelanosa. A kitchen that could cost double the cost of what we actually put in, we can still get the same quality of that kitchen, but when we reverse engineer it and try and go direct to source, we can get that at substantial savings. So what that enables us to do is then put those savings back into the development for doing a standard lighting details, for example. So the plots as standard, we have like a £20,000 lighting package that we put in. People think, why are you doing that? My Alekis used to hate me because they're like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to put that extra amount in for the electric. And it's more intricate work for them. As we've gone on project by project, they've seen the end result of it and they understand why we do it now. So they're much more bought into the brand, the story and the effort that we put into it. Any little reverse engineering savings that we can make, we reinvest into the property to be able to do things like this and be able to then sell it for a very good price point for our buyers.
big question is, obviously you got famous, the lad from Leyland, with the story about, hacking property through social media. How did you make this place stand out so much to the point where you basically sold it out online?
Yeah, so the development is valued at £5 million. All of those sales came through Instagram. We do use an agent that we've used for a long time, and they are great, and they do the back office work. So once we've got the sales, and sales could still come from those guys, it's just serendipitous that it's all happened through social media, and that's grown from, there's probably about 800 to 1,000 followers 8 months ago, just on my own personal account. And just as I started going through, doing stories, showing people the journey, that's just gone up to 14,000 now, and the engagement's amazing. So how it's come about is, I think the level of detail that we go to, the quality of the design is inspirational. So it sits well on Instagram because everyone likes stuff on Instagram that's like aspirational.
Looking nice, yeah.
So it's an easy platform for that to go onto. And I think we've had a few influencers down that have just been genuinely interested in property development, genuinely interested in the design. They were going through their own journey of buying property at that time, so they wanted to see it. They've just come down, just off their own backs, done some stories going around. A couple of them got nearly 1 million followers. So then people seeing that journey and then jumped onto ours, seeing the level of quality that we do, seeing the price point, and it's a talking point, because if it's something different, people engage with it. So guys, this is the cherry on the cake of the design, and this room that then goes up to a mezzanine floor was actually an addition that we've made.
So, do you mind talking us through this mezzanine floor, this design, because it's quite interesting and unexpected actually?
This was a decision that we made halfway through the project, and everyone that's got a sensible head on them hates those decisions because you're messing up plans, you're changing stuff halfway through, and as a construction process it's not ideal to do that. So the reason why I'm so confident in doing it is because we actually had this dead space up here that was just going to be loft area, floor area, and we've converted that into another 400 square foot usable space for the house, created this mezzanine floor. But the big story there, the big learning curve, is not to be afraid of making decisions once you've made a plan, because people sometimes don't like deviating from the plan, but they should always be flexible enough that if you genuinely believe that your decision is going to lead to a better product, then it's worth investing that effort that decision is going to take to implement, because what we've got up here is pretty special. So let me come and show you. People have been talking about using this as a bedroom. Some people have talked about using it as a man cave, a gym up here, games room, pools room. But it's great for a teenager as well, because you've got that area that could be a study area downstairs or like a play area for a kid. And then we've got this area to retire up to up here, with a really nice designed bathroom ensuite, which I'll show you into. But the other functionality that you can have with this, we've got more storage space down here. So if you've got your mum or dad staying over for the weekend, they can have their own wing effectively, which treats themselves or feels that it's more of an area that they can just completely chill out and relax in.
Okay, so we've basically taken a whistle-stop tour of Edgewater Oaks. I'm sure the people understand now that the quality is amazing. It's an amazing place, amazing development. So for the people who've missed out on this amazing opportunity to invest in such a thing, to be part of such a thing, please tell us you have more coming in the future.
Yes, we do. So we've been lucky with this one in the sense of it's been so popular and oversubscribed. I've been very lucky that we've only prioritised people that have got no chain sales, so either cash buyers or people with mortgages that haven't got to sell a property to move in. So what that's enabled us to do is have a list of buyers that have got houses to sell that wanted to get onto here, and we've kept those buyers. We've just acquired another site not so far from here that is 2.6 acres. This is 1.2 acres, and we've got 6 houses on there. We've got one that's 2.6, and we're only putting on one more house onto it, so that's going to be for 7 units. Incredible location. It's in like a wooded area, so it's beautiful, it's special. The views of it are absolutely incredible. And then we've also acquired a site in Knutsford, so that is only for 4 units. They're going to be roughly about £1.8 million each. Again, greenbelt location, very special, great commuter links.
So if you would like to get involved in what's coming in the future, obviously we'll put it down here. Follow David Price on Instagram and the Propertyy. Subscribe to the channel. This is the only way that you're gonna keep up or know about this. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and we'll keep you in the loop. We'll keep doing more videos. Tell us what you guys want to see in future. Thank you, David Price, for letting us into this beautiful place. And yeah, hopefully we can do this all again.
Thanks, guys.